I've had several people ask me how I find the little X on the one side of the foundation chain when I do my pot holders. So I thought if I enlarge the picture and enlarge working on it, it might help. So let's start with moving this up a little bit. Here is the actual piece. Now what I've done is my original chain, and I've done my first row, which is single crochet in the second chain from the hook, and then single crochet in each chain across until you get to the end. As you can see, I'm in the last one now. What we're going to do is turn our work over because we're going to go along this side of the chain. So where the orange is and the white is, that's where we're going to go. What I usually do when I get ready to make my turn, if I can get my fingers in there correctly, I like to first put my hook in the spot, which is the same spot that the last single crochet was, move my yarn to that side. So when I turn my work over and pull my hook through, I'm on the right side of the work where I need to be. Now if you look carefully at this enlargement, you can see the X's that I talk about in my first video. You can see them a little bit here. Here's one, and there's the pink stitch that went into it from the previous round. And here you can see it, I've kind of outlined it a little bit, and that's where you'd crochet into. This one's a little bit easier to see because of variations of colors. Here's part of the X here, there's the other part of the X, and there's where you would crochet into. So basically you're going to crochet exactly where you did your last crochet stitch. Some will be easy to see, and some will be a little bit harder. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's look at our work. And there is the one I just did. So here's the last stitch I did before the corner, and there's the X right there. So you go in where your last stitch was, and now you go to the next one. There's your X here, here, and you go in where the pink one is. Now yours won't be these colors, but you'll be able to see them if you use a variegated yarn. See, that X is really obvious. And you want to go right in where the pink is, just below the X. And you take it all the way across. You can sometimes stretch it a little bit and it might help. Sometimes it doesn't. It just depends on how tight you crochet. But you want to take it all the way across in the bottoms of the X's where your previous stitch was from the first half of your round. I'll go ahead and finish going all the way across. Just got a couple more stitches, and I'll show you how to do the turn. There's no increasing on the corners. You're just stitching one stitch in one stitch all the way around. And sometimes the corners can be a little bit of a challenge. Okay, now I'm to the end. It looks like I'm finished, but not. There is one more stitch right here, because here you can see the little single crochet from the previous row. I think I have an enlargement. Yeah, right here. You can see this is where I'm at right now. I just finished this stitch, and here's the one I have to do. There's the X. It's putting more predominant in this picture than what I've got, but it's, you can still kind of see it. So you want to crochet your single into that spot. Now we're going to do the first stitch in the corner, which is pretty obvious because now this one goes pretty much vertical, and then the next ones go horizontal. So we want to go into this vertical one, and then the horizontal one, and work our way across. So there's, if I hold it this way, there's the vertical one, there's a horizontal one. So kind of turn your work a little bit so you can go in the vertical one. And you just do one stitch there, and then you go directly to the next one, no increasing. Just go directly to the next one. You notice how it kind of curls? That's correct. If it curls, you know you did it right. So now we're going to crochet across to the other end, because we've got to go around the next corner. Same thing, we do not do any increases. It's just one single crochet in each single crochet all the way around, and keep going around and around and around for about 17 rounds. You can do as many chains, foundation chains, as you want, anywhere between 30 and 40. It's up to you. It depends on how big you want it. My favorite is 34. Okay, now I'm at the end. There's the horizontal, the vertical one, and there's a horizontal one. So we want to go into that vertical one, and then we want to go into the next horizontal one. And then you keep turning your work around and go one stitch and one stitch, and same thing again, it curves up. You can see how it kind of curves up over my fingernail. And you keep going around and around doing the same thing. Now sometimes they get a little difficult to work with in the first half a dozen rounds because it likes to curl in. It almost reminds you of a little canoe. So what I usually try to do is kind of tip it a little bit. It seems like it helps me some. I got a crazy stitch right there, but it worked. You won't see it at the end. Let me get to this end. Okay, now we're just about to the corner. We have this one. Now we're at the ones that are in the corner, and as you see, they kind of bend in. Sometimes they're hard to see because they curl in so much. I usually just pull them, tip them back out this way a little bit. Keep my index finger under the one that I want to do, because when I put my crochet hook in, it touches that finger, and it seems like it helps guide it into the right spot. And the next one, I put my finger behind it, and it kind of helps guide it through. That's just a little thing that I do. Everybody has their own way, but I found by doing that, it gives my hook somewhere to go. Otherwise, it kind of feels like it's flopping in the breeze. And you just keep going around and around and around until you get the amount of rounds you need in order to complete your pot holder. I hope this helps.